What do you say, everybody? Welcome to Elephant in the Room on Roll Tide Pods with Jay Coker. I'm Mick Gillispie, getting ready for Alabama fall football practice and really the start of this season, which is 30-some days from kickoff. And we're going to talk about the process that happens. Got the cold summer cookout taken care of over the weekend with recruiting, but now it's time to work with the players that are on this team and get ready for that first game at Bryant-Denny Stadium against Western Kentucky. Man, it's crazy to think like the season is really almost here.
I know. I was sitting here and I know we talked about it before the show, but Ole Miss had a pretty easy schedule last year, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here looking.
But they had to play Alabama and Georgia, I think, on the road. So, and they played Tulane on the road.
I mean, they should be. The first three games: Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern.
That's four.
That's four. Then you got Kentucky.
That's five easy ones.
South Carolina.
That could be six easy ones. South Carolina is like Jekyll and Hyde, man. I never know what to expect from them. Try betting on them.
I know. Well, their quarterback's supposed to be pretty decent this year, isn't he?
They had Spencer Rattler 2 years in a row. And I mean, 1 week against Clemson, he looks like a world beater. And the next week, he looks like he's never played football before. And I mean, I know a lot of that has to do with offensive line and all that kind of stuff. But I mean,
yeah,
But I mean, some of those weeks you'd watch him and you're like, man, this guy, you can't stop this guy.
Well, he can throw the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, he can throw the ball. But he didn't have too much help.
Yeah, that's part of it too.
I mean, if he's playing in any other conference with that team, if he's playing in the Pac-12 with that team, they're winning a lot of games.
Yeah.
I mean, he is one of the best throwers of the football I've seen, in a long time. Now, he doesn't have the strongest arm, I don't think, but he's putting the ball on the money.
Yeah.
And in some athletic positions too.
Uh-huh. What's more important? You got to have a strong arm, but to me, I think accuracy's got to be.
Well, anticipation's the most key component to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when Tua was not even a freshman, he came in and played his first spring game, came to spring practice his senior year in high school. And I remember I was walking out of that tunnel and I watched him. He takes a snap. I'm not even on the field yet, but I see him take a snap, avoid pressure, step up in the pocket, throw the ball with touch and accuracy right over a linebacker. One of those balls Jimbo would call firm with touch. And I saw that and I was like, Ellis. And at that point, I wasn't watching recruiting. I really wasn't paying attention at all. But Ellis Ponder was standing right there next to the tunnel. I was like, Ellis, who the hell is that?
Yeah, who's this guy?
And he was like, that's Tua. He's our new quarterback. I was like, oh, my God, this guy's going to be – you see one play and you're like, this guy's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, and he's also got a lot of money. Did you see that contract he just got? This is like $220 million.
Yeah.
It's not all guaranteed, but still, that's a great contract.
Yeah. Maybe he can sponsor our show and we can just
we're brought to you by Tua here. That'd be great.
Yeah, that's right. We'll accept a donation.
Yeah, I like Tua. I was doing the pregame show when I used to do it with Jay Barker, and Tua's family just showed up during the show.
Yeah,
Jay's talking to him,
Yeah,
and they were not very tall. I was like, man, you what I'm saying? I met a guy the other day. His parents came to a baseball game. He's in the big leagues. And they're like, hey, we just want to, message me. Can you take me around? And I meet them and they're giants.
Yeah.
And their kid's giant, And I'm thinking Tua's we're all, but he does it, man. I mean, I was like, they're normal sized people. And then I'm like, but, don't you have to be really tall and stuff to play quarterback?
Yeah.
So, His younger brother's shorter than he is, though.
You know, actually, I met two of my.
With that said, he's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, I mean, I should have known who he was. I knew he was. I knew who he was before he got to Alabama, just because obviously you know those guys, but when you see them in pads on the field, you really can't tell.
Right.
But when he came to Tuscaloosa, I think it was that workout I had with the Lions that Lane was like,
"Oh boy,
yeah, I wouldn't want to live in Detroit either."
One bad throw. I mean, come on.
But he was sitting over there on the sideline with his parents, and I went over there and talked to him. Lane was like, "You need to come talk to these guys." So went over there and talked to him and gave him my Alabama spiel. But I like to claim that my pitch was the nail in the coffin to get to it, Alabama.
Yeah, I think it is, man. Every time you talk about somebody, these recruits on our show, they always commit.
Unless they go have an official visit with Ryan Anderson.
Yeah. The best one's his story about just telling Shank everything he needs to hear. We need him on the staff now.
Yeah, I guess the blunt honesty didn't work.
No. You're a terrible recruiter. But you worked with Tua, though. Who wouldn't want to play quarterback at Alabama?
Name
a year. I mean, since I can name every quarterback that Alabama's had, I think we tried to do this one day for like 20 some years. Not even the backups.
Well, the thing about Alabama is when you play there, the coaches and players are going to do nothing but make you look better than you really are.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about having 4- and 5-star players around.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Good players at every position.
I mean, guys that are, and for the most part, do what they're supposed to do every time because they're well coached and they're more athletic than the people you're playing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I
mean, again, I don't care if you're like we talked about before. The only team I've ever seen carried by a quarterback to a national championship and win it was Cam Newton at Auburn in 2011.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I mean, and then they go 2-10 the next year.
Those are my favorite Auburn seasons. Those are the great Auburn years. I love it when every time you show up there and they're having one of their bad seasons, which is like every 3 years. And then they're like, "Oh, we don't have a chance against Alabama." And then all of a sudden they play like over their heads.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy about that place, man.
Oh yeah. It's like, I mean, our senior year, we're primed to go to the SEC championship and we're going to the playoff as long as we beat Auburn, beat Florida. And I had just thrown a touchdown past Ardarius Stewart and we were like, all right, this is it's now we're gonna run away with it,
Yeah.
And what's his name? Quarterback at Auburn that year. I'll remember it here in a second. Jeremy, I think it was Jeremy Smith. Anyway, he throws the ball up and he throws it to Jason Smith. And Jason, he's running and tips the ball up.
Jeremy Johnson.
Yeah, Jeremy Johnson. He throws it to Jason Smith. Jason Smith tips it up.
Oh, I remember this.
Tips it up, and I mean, it was this close to just being decleated by Geno Smith. It was just one of those perfect, just Auburn plays.
No, it's the Auburn Jesus.
Jason
play.
Smith tips it up, ball's in the air. He looks up. I mean, like throwback to the prayer and Jordan Air. He tips it up, catches it, runs it for a touchdown, and me and Kenyon Drake are looking at each other. We're sitting next to each other on the bench, and we're just like, only in Auburn.
Yeah.
Only in Auburn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
And you know what happened to him after that? They got Derrick Henry.
Yeah, they did.
They got Derrick Henry. And by the time we left, singing Rammer Jammer, the place was empty.
Yep.
All the excitement was gone. I just remember him like just trucking dudes in that fourth quarter. You talk about decleated.
Well, we also picked up 30 yards because
oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah, Muschamp just losing his cool.
I saw Muschamp at QB Country in Mobile, and I'm working out, and he had his son there, and he is on the phone, and I look out the garage, and he turns around and sees me, and I wave, and he's like, he waves, he comes over, and I was like, man, last time I saw you, you were motherfucking referees in Auburn.
That happened, and then what? Did he get like a head coaching job somewhere?
He went to South Carolina after that.
Yeah. They like that fire.
I had heard that that Gus Malzahn had kind of created a no cussing environment in Auburn. Then you bring Muschamp on, and it's like, well, that's not going to fly.
Yeah, no. Oops. Yeah, the opposite of Saban.
Yeah.
Yeah, the opposite of the Nictator.
Yeah,
man. It's now all of a sudden we're like days away from camp. It starts next week. When you look at like
it starts Wednesday
this week.
Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay, so it starts this week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome. What's like the first couple days of camp like?
First couple days of camp are, there's a little excitement. I don't think anybody's really excited about the first part of camp because, I don't care what anybody says. When you're, up at that complex, you're, working out, practicing twice a day sometimes. It gets in that kind of heat, it gets, everybody gets pretty testy. And then by the end of camp, it's almost like, all right, we got to chill out because there's guys are starting to fight a lot. It's the same guy you're just trying to beat the shit out of every day.
Right.
And, the fights get more and more serious. Everybody's ready to go stay in their own apartment, their own bed. You're staying in that Bryant Hall fold up mattress pretty much. But no, the first couple days are great. Then that once you hit that 2.5 week period, it's like, all right, we gotta start hitting somebody else, But again, back then, and I'm not, I don't know how it is now, but back then there were some real intense individuals on that team.
I already talk about these guys.
Ryan's better at explaining it than me. And the funny thing about Ryan is he explains it like he's not one of those guys.
Yeah, but he is. He is.
Oh, yeah. He's like, oh, man, these guys were crazy. They'd rip your head. They just, these guys belonged in prison. You're like, Ryan, I saw you in some fights too, pal.
I'm such a Ryan Anderson fan. The funny thing is my wife showing me this book of one of these, like, South Alabama, like, these magazines that they put out, and they have all the pictures in them and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And like, oh, here's the Mardi Gras ball, or here's this or that, here's the mullet toss. You and I were there. And like flipping through, like, oh, there's Ryan, like we didn't make it.
I love that he took a video and sent it to me of him filming it. His laugh is so damn funny to me. Him and Nate, you can hear him and Nate Oates talking in the background, and they're talking about how far I'm about to throw it, and then I throw it, and you hear Ryan just dying laughing. And that is,
that was a good day, man.
That was great.
That was a really good day.
It was like 80 degrees.
Got my
like mid 70s, 80 degrees.
I know, man. It's perfect. I'm going there Wednesday. Boating.
I was there not too long ago.
I heard. I got to go clean up your mess.
Yeah, I wasn't there long.
Get him out of here.
No, that did not happen, by the way.
Somebody get him. Somebody get him. No, I'm just kidding.
That did not happen. I had a great time, but it was time to go.
Yeah, it was just time to go.
I was in bed by 10.
We need to go there, man. We've
That
been
is a
talking about
first,
this.
though. I don't think I've ever been to Floribama and left at 8:30.
We got to go there. We got to do this show from
Oh yeah,
there. I mean, just
it's a must.
yeah, like soon. Kids go back to school in like 2 weeks.
Oh, I know.
You're counting the days down.
I'm ready to get back in that schedule.
Counting those days down.
Oh yeah.
What grades? Well, one of them. You're one. The littlest
Oh,
one is going to school.
Pre-K.
She's not going to school, is she?
My 4-year-old is. My 1-year-old.
Yeah, they don't go to school yet.
No.
Yeah, obviously. See, I don't even know about the kids anymore.
But my 4-year-old is going to school from 7:45 to 2:30 for the first time.
Big days right there.
I'm hoping they wear her out.
Yeah.
She, she goes to bed a little bit earlier. I was watching YouTube the other night with my daughter. My daughter loves, for some reason, she loves watching fish getting cleaned. It's the weirdest thing. And we started talking about football. And she started asking me about, me playing football. And so we pull up one of the games from my senior year, and she was like, Daddy, did you ever get hurt? And I was like, yeah, I mean, just part of it. And she goes, all right, show me the game where you got hurt. I want to see that.
Oh, God, that'd be fun.
I was like, what is wrong with you? You psycho. Of course, you like watching fish getting cleaned,
Yeah, right.
You like to see your dad get hurt.
And the funny thing is you say that, and I was watching a video of a guy cleaning speckled trout like today.
Yeah.
And then it was like they were really trying to sell this like thing.
Sell a knife or something.
No, it was like this thing you screw into the side of a can to do like a shotgun of beer.
Oh.
And the guy, because I've caught speckled trout before here, but I know you just like basically cut down, cut in over, and it was like 3 cuts.
Oh yeah.
You know
if you
that
got an electric
already?
knife, it's
really easy. This guy had like a regular knife.
Oh yeah. I used to clean with that electric knife, and then my father-in-law got me on the electric knife.
I've got one of those, yeah.
And one
of those Bubba
fillet
knives,
a fish in like 30 seconds.
Bubba knife. Is it Bubba?
Both sides.
Yeah, they're great.
No, we got a Rapala knife now. It's a little nicer.
Well, I'll tell you this:
got the pointy blade.
You catch those sheep's head, you better have something sharp. They're delicious, but the bones are thick.
We used to catch those sheephead, but we caught them in Dog River. And Dog River is a
dirty place.
It's a dirty, yeah. Hallsmill Creek flows into Dog River.
Really?
And yeah,
well, out here in the Mobile Bay, they're good. They're delicious.
Yep.
I'll let you know if I have any problems.
I like to get to blue water before I
right.
start eating.
Yeah, that's like my snapper I caught.
Yeah, there you go.
God, those are fun. This summer's just blown by, and now these guys are going to be showing up.
I'm ready for it to start blowing by faster.
I know you told me that today.
I mean, Labor Day cannot get here quick enough.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can. We got a lot of work to do before the football show starts.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about this team? Just like your thoughts, like today before camp starts. And I'm going to tell you mine.
Thoughts today. This is a team that I think it's going to take us 6 to 7 weeks to get primed. Kind of like last year. We had anytime you don't have a lot of seniors in key positions, it's going to take time to develop. I mean, we could lose to let's see, we could lose to Wisconsin week 2, and then if we play Wisconsin week 10, I think we beat them by 21 points. I think we've got a ton of talent. Obviously, lost a lot. But it's going to take time for those receivers. I think the receivers in the secondary are, I'm not saying a weak point from a talent perspective, but just from an experience perspective. Game time situations. Of course, they've got the mic now in their helmet. But signals, communication, all that, timing, kind of adjusting on the fly and feeling what other guys are feeling. For instance, we play two instances really. Me and Calvin. Calvin was a true freshman my senior year, and so the year before that, we're not on the same scout team that first year while I'm in Alabama, whereas I am with Ardarius.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not with Richard Mullaney, and I'm not with Calvin. Now, Richard was an older guy, so he adapted pretty quickly. I mean, Calvin was fresh out of high school, so it took him a little bit longer. And once he understood it, I mean, Calvin Ridley's Calvin Ridley, but two situations, for instance, or just for an example, we're playing Mississippi State. I can't remember the route combination, but it was a go route on the outside, and Calvin was running a quick out, and they were in cover two. Well, in cover two, there's a corner in the flat. You do not throw an out route, a quick out, against cover two. The corner's sitting there waiting on it. And so,
how fast does it take to identify that?
I mean, well, when you're watching film and you see how guys line up and how they disguise certain things, I mean, you kind of pick up on what they're doing. Sometimes they bait you into certain looks, I mean, especially high football IQ guys, they'll bait you into certain things. But as soon as we broke the huddle or went to line up, I knew it was cover two. And before I snapped it, I was looking at Calvin like, hey, you need to cut this route off. You see that, right? And it was kind of like eye contact. We understood each other. I get the snap and I throw it, like he's breaking his route off, and he does break his route off, catches it, runs it for a touchdown. Whereas if he doesn't break it off, either the ball is intercepted or it's thrown in the ground.
Right. How often is that the reason why there's interceptions?
I would say probably at least 50% of the time.
So 50% it's the receiver.
No, I wouldn't say that. I mean, it's
or the quarterback's anticipation's wrong.
That's not the play call, like to break off that route. I mean, that was not. If we run the play as called, what I need to do is throw it backside and just try to figure
but
something
you guys
out.
made an adjustment, is what you're saying.
It was kind of just on the fly. Like,
yeah.
I mean, even Lane, when we're watching film the next week, he's like, "How did y'all do this? Like, what was y'all's?"
And you're like, "Look, I saw this,"
and it's kind of a feel thing.
Yeah, right. This guy's cheating this way, or
yeah.
Okay.
And so Calvin breaks off that route. Stops where he's supposed to break out and keep going. He just stops. I throw it to him. He catches it. And Kenyon does a hell of a job blocking. Ardarius comes through, makes a lead block. Ardarius comes from across the field, sprinting the whole way. Most guys don't do that.
Right.
He's sprinting across the field to finish off a block so he can score a touchdown. And then we've got that Tennessee game, 2-minute drill towards the end of the game. We had Q8 crush or something like that called. And we were getting a lot of man, and there was a one-on-one matchup with Calvin backside, and he's supposed to have he's supposed to have at the time, a hang loose, which is a fade, and that's the signal. But, you always get nervous because we didn't rep that a lot. We didn't rep the backside route a lot. We didn't throw it a lot.
Right.
I mean, when that was called, we usually just ran it. But I saw a little pressure coming off the front side, and it was man coverage. And I was like, I looked back at Calvin. I was like, hey, I was making sure that corner wasn't looking and trying to make sure nobody on defense saw it. But I was just kind of like, go on. Just give him one of these.
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case he didn't realize what he was supposed to run, or which 99% chance he was going to do.
You just being a quarterback,
it scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, like
that's thing, and
that's being a leader of the team, though, right?
And that was game, third Saturday in October. What is that?
Yeah, normally like eighth game.
Eighth game.
Yeah,
I mean, but it was that just knowing to look back, Calvin knowing to look back at me, or just knowing that, hey, something may change. I've got the mental fortitude and experience to understand I need to look back and make sure we're on the same page. Because what if I look back at him and give him a different route, or just something changes. And so end up throwing a fade and getting into field goal range with that. Of course, we ended up scoring a touchdown, but that was a play that got us in the field goal range.
Then we gave him Derrick Henry, didn't we?
Then we did, yeah. And then they got Henry.
They got Henry again. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But yeah, I mean, just examples of kind of how things over the year. That's week one. I don't know that we look at each other and confirm that and everything's run properly, and coaches don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just the team you are week 1 through 3 is so much different than week 9 through 12.
Nick Saban, I look, man, even up until his last season, but his teams got better every single week. But every year.
And I'll say this is kind of one of my sticky points on quarterback play and showing confidence in a quarterback. Like when you're playing quarterback and you're not the guy, and the players know the coaches don't have your back 100%. Like you're not getting. It doesn't matter how many interceptions you throw, you're the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a different confidence that players have in you. I mean, I think guys, they know you, they trust you, but until it's like a cemented fact that you are the man, and if you throw 4 or 5 interceptions, you're our freaking guy. I don't think that you can really fully embody that position and have complete control of the team. And so when you go into a season and you don't have your guy picked out and you're switching, and I mean, I think it just takes longer into the year to get to that point.
Yep.
And so that's always been my sticking point with, hey, you need to make a decision and stick with it. Like, I mean, unless you've got 2 just absolute studs playing quarterback and you can't figure it out, and everybody knows they're studs and they're going to be, first round guys or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, even then, one of those guys has the mental toughness to be the leader that everybody follows. So, I mean, it's tough when you don't make that decision. It's tough on the quarterbacks. And ultimately you'll find that absolute leader unless the wheels fall off. And then you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm with you.
I get off my soapbox about quarterbacks being the quarterback and name the quarterback, and everybody jumps on the bus early.
Yeah,
because I feel like it gives you a lot more time to establish your identity as a team.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, man. I mean, like, that's why it took so long last year to have a consistent offense.
Yeah,
because we didn't want to give it to, and I'm not blaming anybody. I thought that we got to see everybody. One guy played lacrosse when it was all said and done. One guy became a good backup, and one guy beat Georgia for the SEC championship. Right.
But my thought on that, though, is, at that point, I mean, those guys have been there a couple of years. You have evaluated their talent. Now, Tyler Buckner, I mean, we talked about this, before the South Florida game last year. I thought that was kind of a mistake to bring him in in the
first place.
Unless he's an absolute animal.
I did too. I was shocked look, you can go back and watch the show. I was shocked when they brought him in.
Yeah, if you
in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
I get it. You get a new offensive coordinator. Hey, it'd be great to have somebody that knows your shit.
It is a
tough
spot to be in when you come in your first year as a quarterback transfer. It really is.
You've been there.
I mean, because it's hard to.
But the quarterback room was definitely.
It takes a special personality. I'll say that because, for me, I'm not going to go in there and make a bunch of speeches and when I hadn't been there. I mean, I didn't come into the recruiting class there. It was like, just put me on the field and let me prove what I'm willing to give up to play here. You know, it's going to mean the world for me to be here, but I can't prove that unless I'm playing on the field and just taking a beating and getting up. And
actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
And then you started running people over.
Well, it was just, you know, I mean, I feel like I just needed that opportunity to
that's what you're known for,
to prove myself.
Your arm, and that you would truck the guys with the small numbers. I know this at this point. I've hung out with you enough. But you know who really loves talking about is Ryan and Shank.
You know, it's funny is Lane used to make fun of me because after a game, I think it was after the A&M game, somebody asked me why I didn't slide, and I was like, I just don't believe in sliding, you know. And it sounded like, you know, this tool bag comment. And what I meant was how many times do you see a guy slide and a defensive guy just take full advantage and just give him a headshot?
Yeah,
like I'll dive forward and get a first down or dive for extra yardage, but I think it is insane to slide foot first and you just open yourself up to letting somebody just. We played Florida and I was like, I faked a handoff and ran it for like 30, 40 yards. And I dove at the 50-yard line. Yeah, I dove forward and Lane was like, he's like, I thought you didn't believe in sliding. And I was like, it's like, I mean, I had the choice between diving head first or just getting mauled. It's like, there's a misconception here between sliding and diving.
Pretty funny. Man, that's funny.
Yeah, he was making fun of me for that comment, and I was like, that's not what I meant.
Well, there's some guys out there that found out the hard way, though, too.
Oh, man. Well, Teddy Bridgewater. You watch some of his highlight or some of those plays. Teddy Bridgewater, I love watching him play, but he would slide. When he was playing for Minnesota, he got knocked out cold in one of those games.
Yeah.
I watched Tom Brady cleats Ray Lewis. He slides and puts his cleat up, you know, and protects himself. And everybody talking about how it was dirty. I was like, hey, man, way better off looking out for yourself than worrying about somebody, you know, coming in and just beheading you.
Getting smushed by Ray.
Oh, yeah.
I loved him, too. Probably my favorite football player. But after the roast, I'd put Tom Brady up there, too, man. You take the heat like that.
I think my favorite's probably Peyton Manning, but
I like Peyton, too.
But
I he's always on the sideline. I love it when he's on the sideline and Tennessee's all fired up, and then whoa. He's like getting in that limousine in the fourth quarter.
He was at our game. He was at the game in Tuscaloosa.
I know. That was one of those games.
He's over there just like,
let's get out of here. Let's break out of here. Yeah. Well, you know who the quarterback's going to be this year. And it's going to be, you know, fun to see who's established as the top wide receiver on this team. That's going to be fun. I'm confident in the running backs, and the offensive line is going to be great.
Yeah.
If the offensive line isn't great, I'll be shocked. And one of the things that led me to believe that it might be time for Nick to kind of go into the broadcast booth was watching that kid snap last year.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's just the fact that they didn't get it fixed, you know, because he was such a stickler for details like that, you know. And I've talked to other guys that played for Alabama off the record, you know, so I'm not going to say who the guys were, and they were saying the same thing. You say that, and they're like, yeah, dude, I don't want guys. Like, I don't know how, having played for this guy, knowing his attention to detail.
Yeah.
And how he will get in your ass, how he let a guy just keep snapping the ball over everybody's head.
I mean, I've never seen, I don't think any of us ever seen just a plague of bad snaps like that ever.
It's like those 17-year cicadas. A plague. And then the guy transfers, and Ohio State blames it on Jalen Milroe. Yeah. Like, what is he snapping the ball to himself?
Let me tell you what, Ryan Kelly could blame me for a few mishandled snaps, and I would agree with him. But I mean, That right there, there's no excuse for that. I mean, there's no excuse. Right. I think we had two mishandled shotgun snaps, and I think both balls hit me in the face mask.
Those are fun. You said you caught one of them, right?
I caught both of them.
Did you?
But both of them ended up he snapped one early. I will say he snapped one early. But other than that, the other two are off my face mask.
Yeah.
One against LSU, one against Michigan State, two against Michigan State, one against LSU.
We need to get him in here, man. That guy was bad, dude. Bad to the bone, man. That's the kind of guy you need. Honestly, I think that's what we're going to get from Parker Brailsford this year. I think he's going to come in.
Ryan would be great. He's great.
Bring him on.
Oh, yeah.
We're working on bringing some guests on the podcast.
Yep. Ryan's supposed to be here today. I say that.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Said he's got a lot on the menu this week.
He messaged me last week and I was out of town.
I told him he's starting to look fat.
Hey, by the way, he sent me this. Are you going to this football camp?
He did send me that.
I want to tell everybody about it.
I got a birthday Sunday, so we'll see.
Ryan Anderson. Ryan's got.
How old do you think I'm gonna be Sunday?
Your birthday?
Yeah. How old do you think I'm gonna be?
Oh man, jeez. Let's see here. 32.
Oh shit! Look at you. You just did the math in your head, didn't you?
I'm a machine, my friend.
Yeah. You said, this fucker's been held back a couple times. 32.
Here it is right here, guys. I know it's not on your screen, but if you're down in LA where we are, this is the
Ryan Anderson, TJ. Yeah,
TJ Yeldon's going to be there. Jonathan Walton,
Torrin McGaster.
Hey, Michael Pierce was always a badass Raven.
Yeah, he was.
God, he was in the backfield a lot.
You know, he came out.
There.
He
Eric
came
Lee.
out the same year I came out, and nobody understood why he wasn't offered by Alabama, Auburn. I mean, I think he went to. Well, he transferred to Tulane. I think he went to Sanford.
Okay.
Out of high school. And everybody's like, what in the hell is going on here? Everybody who played against him knew.
Yeah, right.
And then he ended up transferring to Tulane. But the fact that he wasn't playing at Alabama or Auburn or,
I don't know what the reason was.
Well, he was I think he was 6'2".
So he's just a little small for them. And then dude, look, the guy, I watch every Ravens game. The guy was in the backfield a lot.
Oh, yeah. He was one of the best. He's one of the best players to come out of the Mobile area.
He's slippery. Is he still playing?
I think so.
Torrin McGatster and Jonathan Walton. Did I say him? But the camp is for ages 7 to 15, August 3rd, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Daphne High School. So I'm planning on going.
I need to go. Depends on if I'm in town or not.
Yeah, if you're around, man, I'll meet you up there. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great, man. Kids get an opportunity to go hang out with those guys, and if they're anything like my son, they'll probably Ryan's a superhero here.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty funny.
I mean, people that hadn't met Ryan, they just don't know what they're missing out on. And I'm dead serious when I say that. All right, we were at the beach 2 Saturdays ago. I mean, we had so much fun. You don't know what you're missing out on. That camp will be a good time. Great person for your kids to be around.
Yeah, he really is. All right, a couple things before we wrap up this episode of Elephant in the Room. Rowback.com, promo code ROOM20, 20% off your first order. They got some really sweet Alabama shirts in there. Of course, Jake has one. I do have the hoodie. We had a contest in here. Did you get a hoodie too? Did you get an Alabama hoodie? No, you didn't. And it's almost hoodie season. But you got the polo, and the polo is pretty sweet. But you guys can get one there, 20% off, room 20 at Rowback. I got the crab shirt. Maybe I'll wear it next show. Maybe I'll wear the crab shirt next show.
Yeah, you got to. So I hadn't seen you wear that once. Do you fit into it now?
Yeah, I do. I do fit into it.
Okay, there we go.
And the thing about it is that's my go-to now. You know? You know, you got when you have the crab shirt, the blue crab shirt, you can't just wear that.
People are going to buy that guy a beer.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's at the Spear for $25. Like somebody like Brett was going to buy me a beer the one time, and I was like, okay, okay.
We'll see if this happens twice.
The problem, he offered to buy the third round, and I was like, we had drank so much getting there that I was like, man, I probably just need to, not go back there again. But guys, check out Roback, and don't forget also that we're always presented to you by mybookie.ag. Now that football season's coming, take advantage of MyBookie, get those wagers in. We're really 3 weeks away from college football. We've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action is in your hands and you don't even have to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using the promo code NEXTROUND, and a revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. The more you play, the more you win with MyBookie. All right. Here we go, man. It's go time now. Next show, we'll probably have practice to talk about. Practice?
Oh, yeah.
Practice?
I'm going to head up and check it out. Check it out.
Maybe we should get. Maybe
I'm excited. I'm doubling down on the statement I made to Jalen. I missed out on the NIL stuff. Jalen's going to be helping me out on that Roback stuff. The first thing I'm going to say to him.
You already said it. I was there.
I know, and he hadn't come through.
He just.
I'm going to need more than Roback than what is it? Book 20.
We were all standing there, and then you were like, "Hey, hook me up." Yeah. Well, you guys and me, we can use.
That's what I had to. Yeah,
book 20.
Yeah, told him. He knows I look better in that shit than he does.
That's gonna be fun, man. I hope nobody gets hurt. I can't wait to see what Kalen DeBoer football practice, and game prep looks like.
I'm gonna see if Kalen will put on my playlist.
Yeah. I think Kalen needs to come and do the show. Maybe you need to reach out and say, hey, man, maybe after practice, because practices are in the morning now, maybe he could find like 20 minutes for the two of us.
Yeah.
I'll come up there with you guys.
We could do that. I guarantee you'd do it.
I think he would if he had time, you know?
Yeah.
As they say, do it.
We can get Kane to do it.
Yeah. Hey, look, whatever. Let's get him on.
Hey, I cornered Kane and asked him about it. He's like, anytime.
You already asked him?
Yeah.
Look at you, man. We got big guests coming, people. Hey, another great show. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like and subscribe. Get in the comments section. Thank you for helping us build this channel. We got a lot of big things coming here. And we just appreciate all of you guys that were here from the beginning, the ground floor. And that's all I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to wink at you and tell you, roll Tide.
Roll Tide.